rebounds, 6 assists, going 2 of 8 from the field in her home debut as the Fever lost big. After 10 turnovers in Indiana's season-opening loss at Connecticut on Tuesday, Clark had 3 against the Liberty. Thursday was the first time since January of 2021 in her freshman season at Iowa that the all-time Division I scoring leader was held to single digits. Caitlin Clark's transition to the WNBA has been a rocky one through her first 2 games. Well, let's keep in mind, it's 2 games, everybody. The #1 overall pick is shooting just 30% from the field, and the Fever are averaging 0 for 8 points per play with Clark on the floor. All right. I felt like those numbers were a little harsh. I mean, they're accurate, Monica, but paint the full picture for me, right? She's still a rookie. What do you take away from Clark's first 2 games, what we've seen so far?
Molly, look, 2 things can be true. The WNBA is the best players in the world. There is an inherent and undeniable curve. And the second thing that is true is I believe Caitlin Clark will be all right. I think folks that are new to watching the W need to understand. The Connecticut Sun, her first game, literally the stingiest defense in the league. They gave up the least points per game all last season. Alyssa Thomas is a locomotive going downhill, and Dejanay Carrington is a fantastic defender. She guarded Caitlin Clark for most of that ball game. When she went out with cramps, that's when she was able to find some scoring in that second half. Her second game versus the New York Liberty. Oh, casual. Just the runners-up to last year's championship squad, the Las Vegas Aces, and Benijah Laney Hamilton was a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. She guarded Caitlin Clark. And so she is experiencing the real live curve. These women are faster. They are stronger. And yes, Caitlin still can shoot the basketball and she still can pass the basketball, but there is an inherent curve that is undeniable. I do think that Indiana needs to figure out a way to be a little bit more helpful in terms of getting the ball out of her hands and back to her with their play calling, because she's still pounding the rock like this is Iowa, and it is very much not Iowa at all. But I think she's going to be fine. She is a competitor. I will say, Legs, I'm a little bit concerned about her perhaps hitting a rookie wall because she did come off of a long collegiate season and is now a level up. And these women, they're the best that there is.
Oh,
Okay. So I want to talk about once again the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves and Caitlin Clark's second game. I said I was gonna wait a while to make another video about Caitlin Clark to let the season play and give her time to change and see how stuff go, because talking about somebody every single game and especially at the beginning of the season, there really is no point for real. And I don't want to be like, of course, all of the haters and every single bad game that she has down her and try to bash her. But I do hope when she finally do have a good game or, have a 30-point game or something like that, that the haters is, just as loud and making as many videos as they've been making, since she's been struggling. That's all I hope. But this should be my last video about her in a while, unless something happened, unless next game she dropped 40 or have a triple double or, something crazy like that happens, then I might make a video. But y'all see the title. So I wanted to talk about, should Caitlin Clark request the trade? Now, obviously, I'm not serious with this topic and this title. I know obviously she can't request a trade. I know how bad that'll look, especially for the haters. But I'm really making this video and saying this to address the obvious. What I said in my last video is how bad her team is. Because I did get to watch like half of last game last night. I got to tune in to some of it. Once I got a chance, because I found myself doing some work, but then I had a little bit of free time, so I was able to check out the video. So watching the game, just like watching the first game, is that some people have acknowledged it. The people who objective, who in the middle, who not hating, because the people who hating saying that it's an excuse, but the objective people know is that, just like in college, is that her team is not good. Like, I mean, what you want to say? Like, if you actually watching the games and not just watching the box score, you know that, like, the Fever is not a good team. And what's crazy is that her team at Iowa that she had, I think that they better than the team that she on right now, like literally. Obviously the competition is different, but given the competition, like her, them Iowa players who nobody got drafted, they probably finna go on to be dentists and and stuff like that, lawyers, accountants, or bankers or whatever like that. I've seen more from them than I have seen from Caitlin Clark team with the fever that she on. Like nobody on her team looks good at all. And like I said before, it's that Boston, I think her name Aaliyah Boston, yeah, like I said, the number one overall pick last year. She's been looking terrible, but nobody has been breaking that up because, of course, all of the talk and all of the focus is on Caitlin Clark. But you got this player who was the number one pick last year and got a year under her belt, and she's been struggling and looking even more worse. And she's supposed to be their second best player, or maybe even their first best player since she has been there a year or whatever. And like I said, she was a number one overall pick herself, and she was great in college. Like, I looked up her resume, her stats, watched a couple games. She was good on offense and defense, but the first two games, like I said, the first game she was traveling, couldn't get her shot up. This past game, because she a post player, so that's why I thought her and Caitlin Clark will work, like on some like Kobe, Shaq, Jamal Murray, Joker type of thing, to where you got the guard and a big person, big woman. Because I was gonna say big man, but yeah, so. But she really hasn't been, doing anything. I haven't even looked up her stats, but I'm pretty sure she hasn't been playing well at all. I'll look it up real quick. But yeah, so like nobody is talking about that, and they is her and that's her second best player. So she haven't even got help from her. So last game she had 12 points and 7 rebounds this past game. And then so for the season so far, she averaging 8 points and 6 rebounds and 2 assists. That's what she averaging over the first two games. In the first game, she had 4 points and 6 rebounds and 2 assists. So she's averaging, like I said, 8 and 6. Yeah, 8 and 6 for the season. That's what she's averaging, which is not good. And then outside of her, the rest of the team is bad. Like, just watching them play, like somebody missed a wide open layup. They got a steal and missed a wide open layup. I'm like, oh hell no, I'm missing open threes. Like it's just not, they're just not good. And then what I'm getting to, my whole point is that Caitlin Clark led the NCAA in assists. If you watch her game, it's not just the fact that she's a great scorer and shooter. It's the fact that she's good at getting her team involved and passing the ball and getting assists. Just like last game, she still had like 7 assists. Like she had like 6 rebounds and 7 assists. Like she really a versatile player to where she can get a triple double. Like she gets rebounds, assists, and points. Like she really like a LeBron or Joker or Westbrook in this prime, to where, like she not just a scorer, she also gets points and assists. So knowing that, just like at Iowa, that a lot of her game is dependent on her teammates and her teammates not being, and her being able to get assists, get involved and stuff like that. Like her game, like she's not just straight up Michael Jordan or Kobe. Like I said that she had Jordan mentality, which I'll get into later, but I never said like she doesn't play like Kobe or Jordan because she's not a score first, like score first. She is a score first player, but then she's not a score first. Like she's like LeBron or Magic Johnson or even Steph Curry, even though I think Steph Curry, because of Draymond, runs the offense. And that's what I'm gonna get into also. Like a lot of people, like what's her name was saying that in the clip that I posted in the beginning, is that they need to get the ball out of her hands and let her move off the ball some. But and like she was doing at Iowa, because at Iowa, I forgot the girl name. She was she will play point sometime and let Caitlin Clark play off the ball, which she has to. And that's what benefits Steph Curry also. So she needs to be able to do that so she can get wide open, because with her handling the ball, they either double teaming her or playing her aggressive to where she can't get off her shot like that. Because like I said, one of her weaknesses is her inability. Like she doesn't have the best handles, the best go-to move. Like she's not Kyrie, or she's not even Steph yet. Because we know Steph got some of the best handles that there is. Which she gonna have to work on, because Steph didn't always have them great of a handles. Steph really worked on his game, and hopefully she, model her game after Steph and really get better as time goes along. Because, like people say, is that Steph was raw and a great scorer in college, but he wasn't what he became. Even when he got it first into the league, he was great, but he not what he became. So that's how I want her to be, and I can see her career being like, really working hard, practicing, and really like, end up being like a Steph Curry. Because to me, that's the player that she plays the most like and reminds us most of. So yeah, but just like Draymond, even though like I'm not a Draymond fan, and I don't think that the Warriors needed Draymond like that, but he does help Curry, and it does help Curry him pushing the ball and playing point guard, because so Steph can get free off the screens and catch and shoot, because he a great catch and shoot player. That's the same thing that they need to do with Caitlin Clark. They need to find another ball handler, somebody who can let Caitlin Clark play off of the ball and get her shot up and come off of screens, because the 1-3 that she had in the first game came off of a screen. And then like at Iowa, a lot of her plays do come moving off the ball. Like, they screen at her and she get a wide open shot. That's what she really missing, because she has been handling the ball like 80-90% of the time these past 2 games. So it's not really letting her be where she want to be. And then if you're going to handle the ball majority of the time, you have to kind of be in a point guard situation to where you setting up your teammates, because you got to move the ball. She can't just come down every time with the ball and just shoot it herself and don't pass it to nobody. So that's where she really struggling, and they really need to change at is that. And like I said, like, a team matters. Like, it's not just about being an excuse. And I'm not just trying to make excuses for her. Obviously, she haven't played well, but I'm breaking down what I'm seeing. And that's what I'm seeing is that she's not able to play her full game because she can't trust her teammates, And the same thing happens sometimes at Iowa. She'll throw a perfect pass and they'll blow a layup, blow a shot. Like, what can you do about that? And then, like I said, on her defense is that when you on a bad team and everybody's worried about you, like that's what's going to happen. That's why you need teammates. That's how everybody is, every single player. Like no matter how great the player is, it is true in team sports. You do need a team. Nobody won it by themselves. Like we seen Michael Jordan before he got a team in the '80s. Yes, he was dominating, just like Kobe was dominating in '06 when he didn't have a team, but they wasn't winning. So I could see like Caitlin Clark, like y'all saying, well, she should still be putting up 30 and she should still be dominating offensively, even though her team is bad. She should still have good stats, even though they losing. But like I said, also is that she's not Michael Jordan or Kobe, because a big part of her game is her teammates. Kind of like LeBron, when y'all love to give LeBron an excuse, because when LeBron don't have no teammates to pass to, and all of the scoring is on him, we know he struggled. We know LeBron need a Kyrie, a Dwayne Wade, a Anthony Davis, somebody else who can get 20, 30 a game to help him. Like LeBron not just about to carry the whole offensive load by himself like that. Just like a Magic Johnson. Like, Magic Johnson needed Kareem, even though just like LeBron can score, LeBron, 27 points per game career, just like Magic can score, but that's not their entire game like that. And then they can score in rhythm. That's also the thing. When you got another teammate to take the pressure off of you, that's how you can score also. Teams knowing that they only scoring option is Caitlin Clark. So the focus on her, kind of like with Anthony Edwards, and where he was struggling in the games that the Wolves have lost. It's the fact that nobody else can step up offensively. And that's why I said the key is Karl-Anthony Towns. And you see when Karl-Anthony Towns balling and playing good, them the games that the Timberwolves win, and then Anthony Edwards able to get free. Like that's just how the game in basketball works. So I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, I'm kind of joking about her asking for a trade, but all of the hype and all of the haters is like, she should ask for a trade, because this is messing up her career, not having good teammates. Like, like that is really, hindering her, because people don't understand that she went to a good team where she was playing, on the what is it, the Vegas Aces, or the last team, I think the Liberty who it was that they just played. Like, if she was on a team like that, I guarantee they would be going undefeated. Her stats would be great. She'll be averaging like 10 assists a game. Like, if she was on a better team, but people don't want to look at or realize that if she had another superstar, she will be playing good. And then that's why I said it's really on Aaliyah Boston. She has to step up and play better. Because like I said, she's not playing good at all. And then the rest of the team is bad. Like, they had the worst record two years in a row for a reason. It's like the Detroit Pistons. They basically the Detroit Pistons of the WNBA, basically. So I mean, and then it's unrealistic. I get what people saying about her being overhyped and um all of the hype that is coming with. So people expected so much from her, but it's like, you got to be real and you got to realize that she's human. You crazy to think that somebody who goes to the worst team in the league 2 years in a row, just about the automatic, make them a playoff contender and undefeated, and and you think she just about to drop 40 her first game, and like it's just unrealistic expectations. Because just like I have to tell somebody about Kobe, because a lot of people was bringing up Kobe, and y'all know how big of a Kobe fan I am. So I mean, like, let's be real here. Like, Kobe first season, like, we all know, like, Kobe shooting air balls in the playoffs. We remember that. That's a big highlight of Kobe's career. Like, Kobe was airballing in the playoffs and people was criticizing him, and he had to overcome that. Like, people like to bring, LeBron was good off rip. Like, but yeah, LeBron teams didn't make the playoffs his first year. And a lot of people felt like Carmelo Anthony should have been rookie of the year. And they just gave it to LeBron. So, like, Jordan, I believe Jordan broke his foot. I think that was Jordan rookie season, or was that Jordan's second season? I can't remember off the top of my head. I know Jordan, I think, did get rookie of the year when he did end up playing. But we know the Bulls, regardless, the Bulls sucked and they didn't make the playoffs Jordan first year. We know that. So we got to take this all into consideration. Then lastly, like some people have been pointing out, which is true, she has played, like they said, the beginning of her schedule been the hardest. She didn't already play, because the Liberty, who she just played, they was in the championship last year. They lost to the Aces in the championship game. So she basically played the second best team in the league. And then the first game, she played the playoff team, the Connecticut Sun. They made the playoffs last year. So she just played two playoff teams, and she on the worst team in the league. So it's like, how can y'all expect for her to win? Like, y'all, like, you just got to be kind of objective about it. But like I said, it's common sense. Of course, she's playing bad, but it's just like, people call, like, I wouldn't say this about no player, regardless if I like the player or not. You can't call nobody no bust after 2 games. Usually a bust in any of sports, we say this after a couple years, like at least after the first couple seasons. Like, y'all doing unknown stuff. No player has ever been called a bust after 1 season. Like, that's just crazy. At least 2 seasons. And then those 2 seasons have to be so bad that it's like, yeah, like, we're not even halfway through the season yet before y'all, like, saying that she's a bust. That's just crazy to me. But yeah, that's just my take on everything and how I feel. So I predict, she gonna turn it around. She gonna have some good games this year. So like I said, I hope the haters ready for that, because she gonna have some games where she goes off, and then she gonna have some bad games. And then I don't think the Fever is gonna make the playoffs. But like I said, their objective should be to just have a better record than they had last year, and at least make it more respectable. But to think that this team is going to make the playoffs is crazy. And then lastly, I want to talk about Wemby, because like the lady who I played in the beginning said, is that most players who do good start off, they physical freaks, just like Wemby. Everybody talking about how good Wemby is and loving Wemby, but like I said before, is that Wemby is 7'4". Like, he a freak of nature. Like, like, not taking that against him, because he do have skill sets to be that tall and still able to shoot. But it's just like, like, people give to, like, you don't get as much credit the same with Shaq, like, to where you just, physically or taller or bigger than everybody else. Like, you got the physical advantage. So, like, just like they said, like she said with LeBron, like, like, that's something that you can't teach when you're more athletic and faster and bigger than everybody. You know, you get a natural balance, but somebody who like her, like a Steph Curry, to where they skilled players, they have to, you know, get adjusted to the game because physically they're not going to be able to dominate. So they got to dominate with their skill, but they have to figure out, you know, adjust to the game, basically. Lastly, I'm just going to get into the Timberwolves and Nuggets about last night and them getting blew out and me jinxing them or whatever. So as we know, I picked the Nuggets in 6, but if y'all have watched my last video, I did say I wouldn't be shocked if the Timberwolves won and it went to 7 games. That's literally what I said. But I did say that I predicted Nuggets to win in 7, and I don't see and you know, my pick was if they do lose at 6, they will win at 7. So I'm still, of course, gonna stick with my pick, even though it didn't look good last night. Like they just got ran off the court and they was missing, you know, just a bad game. The home crowd, the Timberwolves was turned up, you know, it was packed, it was sold out. The crowd was definitely hyped. And you know, they just had a bad, you know, a bad game. Shots was going in and out. And then for the Timberwolves, they had a great game. It was one of them games you know, that happens in the series to where one team is on fire, the other one not. And then especially when you at home. So, I mean, this is kind of a wash game, but game 7 is going to be a toss up. Like this is going to be a great game 7. I predict it to be the highest rated playoff game so far. Everybody going to be watching, especially with it being on a Sunday. So I expect for it to be a great series for sure. I mean, a great game for sure. The only the only thing that I'm worried about that I feel like the Timberwolves can win is that one, Jamal Murray, like I just said, all series continues to struggle. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. He is looking like a great two-way player, but then he got the physical, you know, advantage. You know, he's faster, quicker, and then he got I think he's taller or got to be at least this. He either the same height or he taller than Jamal Murray, and we know he's bigger than him. So he really been, you know, putting the clamps on him, and that's really the key to the series. Jamal Murray been struggling, and you know that's their second best player. So, yeah, I mean. It's really gonna come down to Joker versus Anthony Edwards. That's how I feel like the both stars gonna have to show up and carry their team in game 7, and whoever do it the most is gonna win. And then of course whoever gets, whether it's Karl Anthony Towns or Jamal Murray, or if not Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon gonna have to go off again or something, because they're really the 3. Because we know Caldwell Pope, he might hit a few threes, but he not gonna. Nobody else on the Nuggets got the ability to, you know, go off and really carry them like that. It's either gonna have to be Murray, which is not looking good, or Aaron Gordon gonna have to step up. Then for the Timberwolves, we know it's gonna have to be Karl Anthony Towns or Nash, the 6th man of the year. You know, he's been having great games every now and then, but it's hard, like we know for role players as him, you know, he's been playing mostly better at home. Even though, what was that? Game 1, he scored 14 points straight. That was on the road. So it's going to be a great game. It really can go either way. I predicted, like, you know, the spread to be no more than 2 points. I think the Nuggets might probably be favored because they at home, but it's not going to be by much for sure. It's really a pick 'em type of game, and it can go either way. It's going to come down to who shots falling and, you know, which second option and superstar, you know, shows up for real. So, you know, I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a great game for sure. So, yeah, that's just my opinion on it. I ain't gonna make this video too long, and that's my thought. So of course I'll be back after game 7 talking about what happened, and then the semifinal round 2 is almost over. It's almost time for, you know, the conference finals. So of course I'm gonna get my predictions on that. We'll see if the Knicks close out the Pacers tonight. If not, that might go to game 7. It's been a lot of great series, and then everybody think the Mavs gonna beat the Thunder, but the Thunder do have a chance to win tomorrow. So the only team that you know that made it is the Celtics, which I predicted. Like I said, the Celtics, you know, that was the for sure money. Like, you know, everybody knew the Celtics was gonna beat the Cavaliers, so that's not shocking that they series is already done. All the other series, you know, was expected to be close. So I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 went to game 7. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to get my take real quick. We'll see. Sunday gonna be a good one for sure.